and hopefully that will come out. His illness was very sudden. He had taken ill in January. His last public act was to take part in the annual commemoration of Madiba's release at Victor Verster prison. It's something that he did for the last few years. And after that, he had a dizzy spell, went into hospital in Cape Town, said to Barbara that I think he had an inkling that he wasn't going to be too well for too long. Said to her, look, I need to go back to Joburg, because he realized that there was a bigger support network in Johannesburg. Came back to Johannesburg, seemed to be recovering, then started to be dehydrated, got admitted into Donald Gordon, and it's only then that we had the first CAT scan done. And we understood that he had a series of brain clots all on the left-hand side. He was booked into surgery, but before that, he called us and he said, look, this is not a decision that I take on my own. And I need to consult with you and a number of other people. Called us into his room and said, what do you chaps have to say? Now, I don't know of anybody else who does that kind of thing. But that was his life, to consult around every major decision, political and personal. It was a hallmark of his life. Once we understood what the doctors were saying and the prognosis that he could have a brain hemorrhage, we agreed to the operation. The day after the operation, he seemed to have recovered well. Because the first thing he asked me is, what are the headlines in all of the newspapers? Please give me a briefing. I couldn't, because the headlines weren't too good. But I could say that it wasn't about him. Because we had an ongoing thing. Whenever I got a mention in the newspaper, he would phone and say, I spent 26 years in jail. Why are you making the news? Sadly, thereafter, it was a rapid decline. His death caught us completely by, we were just not prepared for this. It was a very sudden death. But let me read to you, I want to just share with you in his own words a couple of things. When captured at Rivonia, he dealt with the issue of death. And he says, the ubiquitous scepter of a death sentence assumes terrifying new proportions. I begin to imagine and picture my life expiring at the end of a rope. And the thought that keeps recurring is, what an undignified manner of death. If I have to die an unexpectedly early and unnatural death, please God, let me die with dignity. And it is that wish of his that we wanted to ensure gets fulfilled. He was very clear. Don't put me on any life support system. Don't put me on any artificial machine that's going to keep me alive or give the appearance of life. And we did not want a prolonged period of suffering. Fortunately, it happened very quick, but in the most dignified manner. So Ahmed Kathrada lived a dignified life, but a life of 75 years of activism. From the age of 12, up until a week or two before his death, Uncle Kathy was an activist. And that is remarkable in the history of this country. Durban is very special to him because he came here in 1946 to take part in the passive resistance campaign. He lied about his age and he came here. This is where he spent his first month in imprisonment, and thereafter did not go back to complete his matric, much to his own regret. He then became a full-time functionary of the liberation movement, up until the time of his death, I would say. The 1949 riots here had a huge impact on his own psyche. He understood the importance of Indian and African unity more than most people, which is why when he had the choice at the Rivonia trial of appealing against his sentence, he said, I can't do it. I can't do it because what message would I be sending? That here I was conspiring to overthrow a government, and because I'm Indian, I want to be let off. He refused to do that because of his solidarity and his commitment to the cause of freedom and struggle in this country. There are a couple of people in KZN and organizations who hosted him in the last few years, and I think it's important just to talk about some of them. Mrs. Mayat, I don't know if you're here. Chulecha Mayat was very special. A book of letters with Uncle Kathy is the most remarkable set of conversations. Menkosa College, we want to thank you for renaming the auditorium to Uncle Kathy in Joburg and for hosting him regularly here. Durban University of Technology was the last to give him an honorary doctorate, and I think he delivered an incredible speech there. And the night of the dinner is when I should have recognized just the kind of popularity. Every guest at that function lined up to take a selfie. And I said to him, it's time for you to go, you're tired. And he said characteristically, just stay one side. I will do all of the selfies until we are done with each and every person in this room. And that was something happening at airports throughout the country, wherever we went, every function. Barbara and I would try to curb it, and he would obviously say, no, people think that I'm important enough to have a photograph with, let's do it. The Virabhora Temple in Tongaat was his last public event. Uncle Kathy had respect for all faith communities, not losing his Muslim identity. But he sat in the prayers there. He participated in the prayers almost as if we were Hindu. What people don't know is that annually, for the last few years, the Brahma Kumaras would tie a Rakhi for him and Lalu Chiba. Now, that's unheard of in most of our cultures. He crossed the cultural, racial, and class divide like very few South Africans. And if you want to learn something from his life, that's the message we take into young people. Anand Singh video vision is very special to Kathy. I think he considered Anand to be a son of his own. Anand has helped to keep his memory alive with the documentary that he has produced. We are just about to receive funding to produce a workbook that will go with that documentary and that will go to all of the schools of South Africa. But Anand also did something special. Ahmed Kathrada spent a year in Budapest at the World Federation of Democratic Youth. That was in 1951. Last year, Anand sent him to Budapest to go and relive that memory. And it's something that he cherished immensely up until the time that he died. Video Vision, Anand, thank you very much for that. But he would have come to Durban in January. He would have come to Durban in January. He had received an invitation from the EFF to come to the protest that they were having outside of the prison of where Bongi Nkosi Kanile was. Unfortunately, he couldn't attend. He pressed me after that. Not that he agreed with some of the charges that was being brought. For him, it was the principle of being detained without trial for such a period of time that he found unacceptable. In Durban, he had 2 visits to the Resistance Park. The first visit, Uncle Kathy sidestepped all of the smelly stuff that was at the park. Many of us couldn't walk there, but he pretended that it just wasn't there. he wanted to draw attention to the importance of Resistance Park in Ambilo Road. He was very happy to come back to do the 60th anniversary of the 46 passive resistance. And he more so appreciates the role of Sastry College and its commitment to now keeping the memory of that park alive, and hopes that it will become something much more than it is today, so that young people understand the true significance of Resistance Park there. Uncle Kathy was a historian. Robben Island for him was just his heart and soul. Over 300 visits to Robben Island. And people would say, why do you go back? And he would say, Robben Island reflects our triumph of the human spirit. It reflects our ability to overcome all that the evil system of apartheid was trying to throw at us. He was instrumental in getting it declared a World Heritage Site, and thereafter continued promoting it. I don't think there's any other political prisoner in the country that has promoted Robben Island in the way that he has. But a few historical facts. When Ahmed Kathrada went to prison, he was not a member of the ANC. He was a member of the South African Communist Party, but he considered him to be a member of the Congress Alliance. You would know at that time, he could not be a member of the ANC. The ANC opened its membership in 1969, and that is when technically he was able to become a member of the ANC. 1990 is when he first took out his membership card of the ANC. But he said to us, whatever the issues are, I will die an ANC member. Which is why his coffin was draped with the ANC flag, not the South African government flag. It was his choice that he die an ANC member in the ANC flag. He would have been perturbed about a range of things in South Africa today. I don't have time to go into all of them. But he left very disturbed about the state of the country, about the state of his movement. So, I can repeat what I said if you didn't hear it. So, but let me conclude. Equally, he was concerned about one thing that's going to kick off in the next few days. He was concerned about the state of Palestinian political prisoners. On the 15th, Ahmed Kathrada launched in 2013. In 2013, he launched the international campaign for the release of a political prisoner called Marwan Barghouti, who is serving 5 life sentences plus 40 years in the jails of Israel. Marwan will start a hunger strike on the 15th of April because that's the day of his abduction. And if Kathy were alive, he would say we must support the Palestinian prisoners in this quest. To conclude, there's a huge life and legacy here. The foundation will roll out over the next few months a program of reflections and tributes to Ahmed Kathrada, wherein which we will distribute all the material of his life and also make available as much of the information that the foundation has. And we hope that that will enable us to understand the full magnitude of his contribution to the struggle in this country, and it will help guide us out of the difficulties that we face today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Comrade Shan, for those very beautiful and personal glimpses of the life of Uncle Kathy. But now I think we must hear him in his own words. So what we have for you is a short video which records a few interviews with Uncle Kathy, which enables us to hear in his own words what his beliefs were, what his thoughts were. So we're going to ask the technical people to lead us, put that video on. Are we ready? Okay. Thank you.
In 1929, Ahmed Kathrada was born into an Indian family in Sri-Lanka, where apartheid was the law of the land. At a young age, Kathy joined the struggle for liberation, risking his freedom for the rights for all South Africans. He ultimately faced the death penalty alongside Nelson Mandela and Walter Sisulu.
Kathy has been in every major political trial until he landed in jail in the Rivonia trial. 1946, 1950, 1952, 1956 treason trial, you name it, every national trial Kathy has been involved.
They were sentenced to life in prison and were sent to Robben Island. People the world over called for their release.
It was a microcosm of how apartheid applied in South Africa. I stayed in the cell for 17 and a half years. If you stood here and looked out, not only can you see Cape Town, which is quite a distance, but the warders going to the harbor with their kids. That was the advantage of the cell. The main deprivation was children.
You miss children. Mr. Mandela saw his two little girls when they were 2 and 3. Right. And next time he saw them was when they were over 16. A prisoner never loses hope. Never, ever. Although we were sentenced to life imprisonment, and for political prisoners, life meant life.
We want Robben Island to be a monument. One wants to perpetuate the positive aspects, and that is a place of triumph. Because Robben Island played a very important role in the struggle, although we were in prison.
And the struggle to crush apartheid was in some ways less difficult than the struggle we are facing now.
After 26 years, Kathy and his comrades walked free, infusing the struggle with new hope.
I had waited long, and we met again. It was a moving experience, and became very clear that nowhere in the world the human spirit can be destroyed by a tyrant or an oppressor.
6 months later, Nelson Mandela was also a free man. They negotiated an end to apartheid and set to work building a new nation. Prisoner Mandela became President Mandela. With Kathrada as his advisor, they chose a path of truth and reconciliation over revenge. Old comrades worked with the young leaders to make their highest ideals the law of the land. Kathy taught people in South Africa and around the world about the history, triumphs and lessons of the journey to freedom. He is a vigilant champion of ethical standards and of racial equality.
He has been a great instrument of the movement. That is what he has brought. Confidence in the future.
I found him to be a great fountain of wisdom.
He is a selfless person. He's made an enormous contribution.
You know, he connects to the issues that affect us as ordinary human beings.
He has contributed significantly to our rainbow nation.
Ahmed Kathrada remained core part of the leadership of our struggle at the time.
Freedom to be achieved has to be fought for, to be sacrificed. There has to be sacrifices. Freedom you don't get on a platter. Nobody has given freedom on a platter to anybody. It has to be fought for.
They had passion for what they were doing. They didn't do it for name and fame.
South Africa belongs to all who live in it, black and white.
They were very brave to make the kind of sacrifices that they made.
We are deeply grateful that today we live in a lively democracy.
But he's so warm and he's so humble for a person of his status and his legacy.
You'd expect someone of his stature to actually be proud and, he'd want to be praised, but that is not who he is.
He's basically teaching us about non-racialism. It's an incredibly good heart in Kathy that I think most people recognize and respond to. And that is a privilege to live with someone with such a good heart.
His life is a legacy of an ongoing example of the unbeatable power of love and the triumph of the human spirit.
Friends and comrades, thank you for your patience and for enjoying that. Do you agree that we have a lively democracy? Yeah. Okay. So moving on, one of our speakers this afternoon was going to be Mama Albertina Luthuli, who unfortunately was not able to be present. She informed us that this year is the 50th anniversary of the death of her father, the late President of the ANC, Chief Albert Luthuli, who 50 years ago died under very mysterious circumstances, which everybody suspects was due to the apartheid government. So she's not able to be here today because the family is meeting to arrange the commemoration events, and we will be informed of that in due course. However, Mama Luthuli sends her good wishes to this meeting, and she has also asked us to convey her deep and sincere condolences to Comrade Barbara Hogan, and the Kathrada family. She has, however, sent us a written message, and I'm going to ask Comrade Ben Madokwe to come forward and read that message. Thank you, Ben.
Statement by Dr. Albertina Luthuli, patron and board member of the Albert and Nokukhanya Luthuli Peace and Development Institute. Nation formation, social responsibility, good as well as effective governance, economic accountability, and more are grounded in excellent leadership. The road towards a democratic dispensation was never easy. However, the resolve of the people of South Africa to establish a democracy, a non-racial society, and a non-sexist society remain central pillars of our existence. These are achievable ideas. Over the years, we have also learned that we must strive to build a nation that is free from corruption, nepotism, cronyism, and self-enrichment at the expense of the poor. Future generations are the beneficiaries and custodians of well-led, governed and managed South Africa in both the public and private sector. These must be embedded in the minds and souls of the young. This is all dependent on senior citizens being exemplary. My father my father's death came about because of his commitment to prevent South Africa from degenerating into a nation of thugs and immoral people. Neither did he want South Africa to be a puppet of other external corrupt forces. Many young South Africans always talk about the legacy thought he shared with them, and hence he remained respected by them. This is not the time for me to point fingers or put blame on groups, individuals and actors that are intended to destroy our fledgling democracy and involve a nation. Mine is to encourage all South Africans to build a nation and economic system that cares for the poor. To achieve the latter, trust, integrity, honesty is a cornerstone. The three characteristics I have identified were symbolized by my father and my mother in their existence. In the midst of disagreements and despair in different quarters of our society, peaceful approaches must always be uppermost. It is responsible for me to focus on the issues of trust and integrity in an emerging nation like ours. These two are grounded in the following: credibility, strong and considerable stewardship of a nation, compassionate and servant leadership, having a conscience, peace and stability, convincing leadership in protecting the economic well-being of our nation, commitment to selflessness, national cohesion. In an emerging democracy, trust can never be compromised. Leaders must understand that the lack of trust culminates in suspicion. It is at this point that suspicion is associated with dishonesty. As our generation hands over the baton of leadership to born frees, we must teach and entrench the values of trust, integrity, and honesty to these near future leaders. By pronouncing them only by words of mouth is inadequate. Thus, we must live them and must make them visible with our daily actions. In short, young people learn better through proper mentorship. To all my fellow South Africans from all walks of life and our different communities, I plead to you to work together for a society that cares and a country that become part of nations that are viewed to be properly moral grounded. In the past few years and few days, we have witnessed a South Africa that can be torn apart by disagreement on the issues. This need not to be, because we do have values in our multicultural communities. The founding fathers and mothers of our African National Congress, the treason trialists, the revolutionary trialists, the founding mothers and fathers of our interim and final constitution demonstrated this. Let us all build on this solid foundation left to us and to future generations. At this troubled times in our developmental country, I feel on behalf of my father, Chief Albert Luthuli, ANC leader between 1952 to 1967, and my mother, Nokukhanya, his greatest supporter and confidant, that where they are, they would like to see the South Africa they worked hard for, together with the team of the likes of Nelson Mandela, the Tambos, Sisulus, Dumanokwe, Montnecker, Steve Dlamini Billionaire, Kotane, Moses Mabhida, Alan Patton, and many others. When we consider a broad spectrum of leaders of the past, then we should realize that what a great responsibility it is to lead South Africa. Finally, I agree with the well-known frame that says South Africa is not for sale, and it should not be for sale. And we should defend it so that no one should think he owns South Africa. South Africa belongs to all of us. I add that South Africa, as articulated in the Freedom Charter, belongs to all who live in it, black and white, green and gold. And we must treat this wonderful country with the utmost care, lest we lose it to the unprincipled leaders. This is our responsibility to all build South Africa, to make sure that we have ethical leadership in South Africa. I thank you very much.
Thank you, Comrade Ben, for reading that message on behalf of Mama Albertina Lutuli. Friends and comrades, we are now going to get a short message from Comrade Talutolo Sabelo.
Long live ANC, long live. Long live a non-racial South Africa, long live. Long live President Jacob Kedeshegi Samtanganyelwa Zuma, long live. Thank you very much. Manda. Thank you very much, Program Director. Greetings to the family of Uncle Kathy. Greetings to the pastors who are present here. Greetings to the leadership of the African National Congress. From the National Executive Committee, Comrade Peritel and Comrade PG. From the Provincial Executive Committee, our Provincial Chairperson, Comrade Sihle Zigalala and other PC members who are here, Comrade Ravi, Comrade Meki. The leadership of the active citizen movement, comrades and friends. As the ANC Youth League, we are here today solely to come and pay tribute to a struggle stalwart who belonged to the African National Congress. We know that there has been widespread criticism when we announced that we would be attending the memorial service, because many believed we were here to disrupt the memorial service. We want to say to the organizers and the family of Comrade Ahmed Kathrada that the ANC Youth League is here to celebrate a life well lived, not to disrupt the proceedings. We know and we understand the legacy of Comrade Kathy. We also understand that he would never have been happy to see so much poverty in the people of South Africa. We know that he struggled to see a non-racial, non-sexist and prosperous society. Hence, he would have never have agreed that his name be used to divide South Africa along racial lines. We are absolutely sure and confident that he would never have agreed that his name be used to tear apart his organization, the African National Congress. We were taught in the ANC that we should never use the deceased to condemn the living. So we are here also on behalf of the President of the Republic of South Africa and the President of the ANC to also mourn on his behalf after he was barred from mourning his leader who he had served time with in the Robben Island. We believe that Uncle Kathy would have agreed with us that it is indeed time for radical economic transformation in the Republic of South Africa. We believe that he would never have agreed that the economy of this country is not transferred to the people as a whole. Despite Uncle Kathy's senior leadership or seniority in the ANC, despite him having struggled for this country and freed this country, not in a single day did he ever demand a cabinet position in the government. So we want to say, greeting also to the Treasurer General of the African National Congress. We want to say, without any fear of contradiction, that all our comrades in the ANC, especially those whom are seen today in the forefront publicly disagreeing with our organization, that they should be worried when all of those who have always disagreed with their organization have all of a sudden endorsed them as leaders today. We know that it has been widely reported that the ANC Youth League has a problem with Comrade PG. We want to say clearly, we don't have a problem with him as a leader of the African National Congress. We only have a problem when he is in quarrel with the leadership of the African National Congress. We must remember, the ANC is a voluntary organization. We all joined the ANC to serve the people of South Africa and nothing else. The ANC Youth League has called for a meeting with the active citizen movement. I've just agreed with the chair of the active citizen movement that we will be having a meeting with them to discuss some of our concerns that we also have and some of the concerns that they also have, in order to pave a way forward so that our country does not deteriorate into ashes. We call upon everyone who is participating here to respect all speakers. We call upon you, especially those who are members of the Youth League. Now, this is now a command from our provincial chair, Comrade KwaZulu-Natal, who has said to me, I must say to all members of the ANC Youth League, let us respect this memorial service and not interrupt anyone, especially the senior leadership of the ANC. Our chair is going to come speak here. The NEC member of the ANC, Comrade PG, because that's what we need to remember. Comrade PG remains a leader of the African National Congress. And the youth of the ANC will respect all leaders of the African National Congress. Finally, as I go to sit down, the ANC Youth League in KwaZulu-Natal wishes to affirm its unequal vocal support for the cabinet reshuffle by President Jacob Zuma. We also wish to reaffirm the continued leadership and stewardship of President Jacob Zuma of this country, and we are saying, as the Youth League, we believe President Zuma must stay as president of the ANC till December, and as president of the country till 2019. Thank you very much. Amandla.
Thank you, Comrade Tanukolo, for those very wise words, and demonstrating to us true leadership today. Comrades, at this point, and friends, I would like to welcome the Treasurer General of the African National Congress, Comrade Zweli Mkhize, who's joined us on the platform. It's now my pleasant duty to call upon our next speaker, the MEC for Economic Affairs in KwaZulu-Natal and Chairperson of the Provincial Executive Committee, Comrade Sihle Zikalala.
Mandla, Oliver Tambo, Oliver Tambo, Besandla, Oliver Tambo, Besandla, Sam, Oliver Tambo, Oliver Tambo, Bisanda, Oliver Tambo, Bisanda, Oliver Tambo, Bisanda, Sam, Oliver Tambo, Bis, O Sibambunga, Siegeliba, Bisanda, Sam, Ebonzimeni, Besanja, Oliver Tambo, Besanja, Sam, O Sibambunga, Siegeliba, Besanja, Sam, Ebonzimeni, Besanja, Oliver Tambo, Oliver Tambo, Amandla, long live ANC, long live. Long live ANC, long live. Long live the legacy of Comrade Ahmed Kathrada, long live. Long live the legacy of Comrade Ahmed Kathrada, long live. Long live President Zuma, long live. Long live ANC, long live. Mandla. Comrades, we take this opportunity, Comrade Treasurer General of the ANC, Comrade Zweli Mkhize, to greet you as the Treasurer of the ANC. Thank you for attending to this engagement. We wish to greet the NEC member of the ANC, Comrade Provincial, and thank him for honoring the invitation to this memorial service. We extend our greetings to the ANC NEC member, Comrade Pegogwake Cele. We thank him for honoring and being here today. Let me take this opportunity to greet the PEC members of the ANC, Comrade Ravi Pillay, as well as Comrade Meki Kavenda. I wish to also greet, with respect, send my greetings to the family of Comrade Ahmed Kathrada and thank them for being with us today, but also thank them for allowing us to share this part of his life and remember who was Comrade Ahmed Kathrada in the true spirit of the revolution of the people of South Africa. Allow me, Program Director, also to acknowledge the presence of a number of our veterans, the veterans of the struggle, especially among us. We've got Comrade Ila Kandi, a number of our veterans who are with us here. We thank them for being with us today. Greetings also and acknowledgement of the Member of Parliament of Legislature, Comrade Cyril Kaba, Comrade Nonkosi. Ladies and gentlemen, members of the ANC, greetings to all of you. It is a singular and a deeply humbling honor to be part of this session where we pay tribute to Comrade Ahmed Kathrada, a beloved comrade whose whole life, personal, social, and political, was shaped by the African National Congress, the organization which he loved so deeply and to which he remained loyal until the last day of his life. Maybe at this moment, let me just remind all of us who are members and not members of the ANC, because Comrade Ahmed Kathrada was a member of the ANC. The current dynamics that are at play in the society and even today here does not represent the glorious movement, the ANC. The ANC is a truly non-racial organization. Any form of racial segregation and any form of separation in terms of race and class does not represent and reflect the standing of the ANC and its character. But having said so, because I'm this kind of a person who speaks quick, I always don't appreciate stopping so that I speak and finish. But the ANC is a caring organization and a democratic organization. Now, a democratic and a caring organization is always responsible. A democratic organization, one is responsible, but it's democratic. And as the organization, we've got a platform to raise our views, to raise our emotions, to raise our anger, and to debate issues. In the society, we're open for criticism. We accept criticism with humility, and we take it as what built us to go and do self-introspection. And therefore, having said that, I must start by saying, one, to use the platform of a memorial service or any platform of bereavement to postulate and echo any sense of disagreement is not correct. To use a platform of a funeral and a memorial service to express any divergent view is not humane. It is against the culture of Ubuntu. I must therefore say, kindly bear with me, comrades. Starting from the memorial service, the quotation on the letter written by Comrade Ahmed Kathrada to the President, it was a letter between the President and Ahmed Kathrada and no one else. And I want to be clear on that. Irrespective of who we are and what is our standing in our society, we must never abuse any information and anything to our favor. And therefore, that presentation of a letter written in a particular form directed to the President does not represent the character of the ANC. If that letter written by the former Deputy President of the ANC, if the Deputy President has shares the same concern raised by Comrade Ahmed Kathrada, it is upon him to go to the ANC and raise those issues with the ANC. Now, comrades, if one comrades have gone wrong and did something that is strange and which does not resonate with the culture of the ANC, we should not follow the suit. We should remain disciplined as members of the ANC. I believe, and I will want to make it clear, any use of the platform of the passing on of Comrade Ahmed Kathrada to reflect divisions in the ANC does not represent the ANC. Any view that seeks to use and abuse the platform of the passing on of Comrade Kathrada to reflect your view about what is happening in the society, it's incorrect. Therefore, even here today, those who've got views about the cabinet reviewal must go and take their views to political parties they belong to. Those who belong to the ANC have created enough platform to engage with comrades who support the decisions of the president. And therefore, the support of the decision to review the executive cannot be expressed in the memorial service of Comrade Kathrada. And I must say, any placard that is here, whether in support or against the reviewal of the executive of this country, does not represent the glorious movement, the ANC. Those who decide, those who are saying here they are in support of the president, it's correct, it is not wrong. But not in this platform, because in this platform we are paying tribute to the cadre who spent his life for this movement. But equally, those who are coming here with placards criticizing any leader of the ANC are equally wrong and are doing it in a wrong platform. I must say this equally, even if we've got differences in the ANC, we handle our differences in platforms within the ANC. We are the only democratic organization in this country. We are the only democratic organization that discuss issues, differ, and engage on those issues openly without fear or favor. And therefore, even today, we would like to ensure that this platform is not used to ventilate any anger. We live here in KwaZulu-Natal in a divided society. Amandla. Let's sit down, comrades. Let's sit down, comrades. Chief, hlalani phansi. It is unfortunate that we continue to see this kind of situation. I must say, we are living in a divided society characterized by racial polarization which emerged and is sustained from colonialism of a special type. Unlike other revolutions, colonialism was something else, but in our case, a colonizer and the one who's colonized shared the same territory. In that regard, we've defined ours as non-racial society. There will be those from both sides who will become extremists. They will want to peddle racial division at all costs. Those who are racist in our country are racist because they benefited from apartheid colonialism. Those who are racist in this country, they will want to sustain racism as long as it benefits them. And therefore, those who fight against racism cannot falter and do the same. But we must continue to ensure that we eliminate all elements of racism. We can't be arrogant, we must be polite, we must welcome engagement, criticism, we must debate as a democratic society, but we must not express our differences in any racial segment. We must equally respect the leaders of the ANC. ANC leaders are leaders because they are elected to lead. In the ANC, we've got elected leaders, but we've got leaders who have led us, who are leaders and they remain leaders even without being in positions. And therefore, we must understand we have to accord all leaders of our movement respect. We must accord all leaders of our movement at all time respect. Even if you are a leader today, you see a person and you don't believe he's a leader because he or she does not occupy a leadership position. But if he has been in a revolution and played a leading role and contributed, in that respect, he is a leader. In this KwaZulu-Natal, we had Comrade Past 4, all of us had held Comrade Past 4 in high regard because of his contribution, not because of positions he occupied. And therefore, even if we differ with leaders, let's differ with leaders in proper platforms. Let's not use public platform to ventilate our anger and our differences. Let's take our differences to structures of the movement. We're here today to reflect on the legacy of Comrade Kathy and ourselves. We need to sustain the legacy of Comrade Kathy. The world today is better placed because of his contribution in this revolution. It is thanks to them, the generation of Ahmed Kathrada, that today we celebrate 23 years of freedom in peace and unity. It is thanks to them that all our people have equal right. It is thanks to them that millions of our people have houses, water, electricity, which could not be provided by the apartheid regime. It is thanks to them that today we now have opportunities for the youth that were a dream 2 decades ago. As we mourn the passing on of Comrade Ahmed Kathrada, we must simultaneously celebrate his life. Comrade Ahmed Kathrada joined the revolution just when he was 12 years old. He joined the Communist Party of South Africa, and he remained in a revolution until the end of his life. Therefore, as we are gathered here, and in our collective grief notwithstanding, we do so to celebrate the life and the times of the revolutionary, a freedom fighter, and a selfless campaigner for a South Africa that belongs to all who live in it, as entailed in the Freedom Charter. I'm mentioning all of these points because there is always the risk that in saying to interpret Comrade Kathrada's life, we emphasize what serves the purpose of present, which advances our own interest. Our own interest remains our own interest, but the legacy of Comrade Kathrada and his generation must always be protected. It is the legacy and the work, the struggle of Comrade Nelson Mandela, Chief Albert Luthuli, Ahmed Kathrada, Oliver Tambo, Lillian Ngoyi, Helen Joseph, that help us to understand that it is possible in our country to build a non-racial society. It will be remembered, comrades, that in the 60s, during the 1960s, we had an epoch where the ANC engaged robustly on non-racialism and ended up adopting the Freedom Charter. Upon the adoption of the Freedom Charter, some within the Congress movement left the ANC to form what is now called the PAC. But the like of Nelson Mandela, Ahmed Kathrada, Walter Sisulu were the one who educated us and the society about the true non-racialism as a future vision of this country. Comrades, Comrade Ahmed Kathrada was always courageous. As a true compatriot, we speak of comrade who spoke, who was humane, humble, and respectful. To be a member of the SACP at the young age of 12 years reflects a great sense of courage. To be a member of the Congress movement at the height of the state of oppression took an extraordinary bravery and soldier's heart. To plot the downfall of the apartheid regime immediately following a 5-year treason trial was an embodiment of a spirit of no retreat, no surrender that was underpinned by the revolution to realize a truly democratic society. To spend more than 2 decades in jail for one's conviction demand an extraordinary sense of justice and greater belief in the cause of the struggle. Thus, we do not exaggerate when we say that the life of Comrade Ahmed Kathrada is a story that one that belongs to a chapter dominated by bereavement of the struggle. Comrade Ahmed Kathrada taught us that for a leadership body to work with the masses, it must be united. The leadership must always be united with the membership. Today, we have contradictions in the society, but such contradiction should be a symbol of strength that build us together. Let us soldier on to build a truly non-racial society as enshrined in the Freedom Charter. It is that generation of Nelson Mandela, Ahmed Kathrada, Walter Sisulu, Oliver Tambo, under the leadership of Chief Albert Luthuli, that said these freedoms we will fight for side by side throughout our life until we have won our freedom. We are where we are today. We are not at the end of our revolution. We have won the political freedom. We still have to continue until we achieve the economic freedom for all our people of our country. Mandla! Long live ANC, long live. Long live the legacy of Ahmed Kathrada, long live. Long live the discipline of the ANC, long live. Thank you.
Amandla! Thank you, friends and comrades. Thank you, Comrade Sishle. Friends, can we continue this meeting in the spirit in which all of our speakers have asked us to do, to honor the memory of Comrade Kathy, and to be prepared to listen to everybody, because in this meeting, this is an open meeting. This is a meeting in which everybody has the democratic right to express their views. So it is in that spirit that I'm going to, comrades, please, let's give everybody a fair chance. It's in that spirit that I'm going to introduce the next speaker. I'm not going to talk about his contribution to the struggle over many years and so on, as you're aware, or the various roles and positions he's held in government. But I want to, comrades, I want to let you know, if you do not, that we have in our midst somebody who is a product of the city, that we can all be proud of, whatever our position might be. He is a person who grew up in the city, who worked in the city, who spent most of his adult life in the city, and developed or cut his political teeth in the city, and became involved in the liberation movement in this city. So this is a son of the city. He is also an old boy of this school called Sastry College. It is in this school and on these grounds that he learned about the politics of the day. And he is back here to speak with us, and let us give him the respect that we accorded to all of the other speakers, and allow him to make his address. I call upon member of the African National Congress of the ANC, Comrade Provincial.
Viva ANC, viva! Viva the Alliance, viva! Viva the spirit of Chris Hani, viva! Thank you, comrades. Let me also recognize the Treasurer General, Comrade Zweli Mkhize, the Chair of the Province, a good friend, a younger friend, but good friend, Sishla Zikalala, the Secretary of the Youth League, Comrade Sabelo, the leadership of the activist movement that have convened all of us here today, senior leaders who are sitting in front of me who taught me politics in the early 1970s, Ila Gandhi, Swaminathan Gawandan, and others, and many comrades here who spent 10 years or 15 years or 20 years on Robben Island, all of whom we must thank, together with Comrade Kathy, for the fact that we have a free South Africa today. Let me also greet all of you, Sanbonani, Namaste, Vanakkam, Assalamu Alaikum, and Shalom, and thank you for spending your afternoon with us. I matriculated from this school 50 years ago, so the age is showing now. But before I proceed, comrades and ladies and gentlemen, tomorrow will be an important anniversary in our history. Tomorrow is the day in 1993 that a senior leader of the Communist Party and the African National Congress, Mkhonto we Sizwe, was murdered by white right-wing people. Chris Hani. I want all of us to please stand for a moment of silence out of respect for Chris Hani and Ahmed Kathrada. A moment of silence, please. At least we can remember Chris Hani and Ahmed Kathrada with the respect that they deserve. Thank you very much. Let me also recognize Comrade Bekik Tele, our Deputy Minister, and he and I also yesterday saw the passing away and the burial of a comrade from Lamontville, Baba Dlamini, who in the early 1990s, when things were really tough in Durban generally and KwaZulu-Natal, was part of a group of activists like the late Jabu Stole, Bekik Tele, and Paul Scott, and others who resisted the incorporation of Lamontville into what was then the KwaZulu self-governing territory of apartheid. And I want to pay particular tribute to his family for this very quiet person who made a tremendous contribution over 30 or 40 years of activism to political education in the greater Durban area, to building up the civic and other structures in Lamontville. And you would never pick out Baba Dlamini in a crowd, but he was a quiet, humble person who was a pioneer of creating new types of organizations, including the underground, at a time when you would just get murdered overnight by what was then called the A-team, set up by the apartheid regime. Comrade Kathy was also a quiet, humble, gentle soul. He wouldn't also stand out in a room. He would also earn all of our respect, young and old, by virtue of his wisdom, his quiet advice, and his gentle approach. And so it's in that spirit that I also want to thank Sean Bolton and the Kathrada family for giving us all an opportunity to come together this afternoon and pay tribute to a great hero of our revolution. A hero that we want to today celebrate, a hero to whom we want to say thank you for your contribution, but also a hero to whom we want to say we commit to continue the South Africa that is contained and described in the Freedom Charter. And that is a South Africa that belongs to all who live in it, a South Africa where the people shall indeed govern, a South Africa where all of us can share in the wealth of our country, a South Africa where there will be jobs for everybody. Comrade Kathy's democratic activism is now legend, but I will certainly advise the younger comrades amongst us to study this activism, together with that of many other comrades in the struggle, and not just salute people once a year or once in a while, but ask ourselves the question, as we become older in the ANC, as we take the baton to develop this great organization into an even greater organization, as we take on the responsibility of making sure that the ANC survives for another 20 or 30 years, let us understand what kind of activism does it take, what kind of democracy does it take, what kind of non-racial unity does it take to build this ANC and keep it alive. That's the key thing. Because we know today there is no other organization in South Africa that will ensure this non-racial, non-sexist, democratic South Africa. There is no one who can be trusted with the welfare of all 55 million people in South Africa. And that is why unity meant so much for Comrade Mandela, Sisulu, Tambo, Kathrada, Slovo, Monty Naika, and many others throughout our history. But that unity wasn't a unity without principle. It was a principled unity that is important. Because you see, comrades, any two of us or any group of us can make a deal today. Somebody will pass on a nice bag of money, we all share the money, and we say we now have unity because we're not going to fight because we all got a bit of money. That's not unity. Unity can't be based on money. Unity can't be based on these brown bags that are moving out all over. That is not Kathrada's ANC. What we also want is an ANC that Comrade Kathrada would say commits itself, at least for the next 20 years, as our government is beginning to do and has been doing, to make sure that young people in South Africa have a very different life from the one they have today. Young people must have jobs. Young people must have the proper training. Young people must get business opportunities. Young people must ensure that they grow into the economy of this country. And if we don't work together, we are not going to be able to accomplish what Comrade Kathrada and his generation, and indeed subsequent generations as well, have wanted for our country. Comrades, let's hear each other. It's my turn to talk. It's your turn to listen for now. It's a free country. It's a free country, but this is not respect. Everybody here spoke about unity in the ANC. Where is the unity in the ANC? Everybody said we will respect each other and sort out our differences in our structures. Let us live that principle. Let us go to the structures. So Comrade Kathrada and his generation, like ours, also wants radical economic transformation. But be careful. That radical economic transformation can't be for a handful of people. It must be for all of us. Radical economic transformation must mean that our families, particularly African families, don't pass poverty from father to child. They must start passing wealth from father to child. We want to create a country and an economy. We want to create a country, comrades. No, you got to hear. You don't like it, doesn't matter. Hear. Come on, guys. This is the intolerance you don't want. Come on, love. So when we talk radical economic transformation, we must be, comrades, let's sit down. Radical economic transformation must mean that there must be land for all of our people, jobs for all of our people, that we must ensure that everybody in 20 years' time or less has some asset that can be passed on to future generations. And in that sense, we need a very different kind of economy from the one we have today. And the appeal to all of us who have some wealth, some property, and some assets is, let us find out how we can help others who don't have that. How do we include small businesses from the townships in our businesses? So let me carry on. Ahmed Kathrada would say to us that despite differences that we might have amongst us, and sometimes we must ask ourselves, what are our differences based on? What is it that we are arguing about? We agree on the kind of South Africa we want. We agree that we need a different kind of economy. We agree that all of our people must have a much better life than we have today.
Amandla, comrades, Amandla, comrades there, Alshalen Pansi, comrades, Shalan Pansi, comrades, where are my comrades? Amandla, tell my comrades, can Shale Pans, non Kenjenala. Comrades, La Enambe Passage. Sorry, the colleagues who are journalists, we request you to come and work from here. Is that the reason is that once you get there, you get us entertained. Just come and be with us here. Comrades, comrade, the one on the red, yourself, that one. Reverend, comrade, yeah. Comrades, Amandla. Ngicela senze nje maqabane. Ake senze nje. Nangu lo comrade weskipe esibovu. Loya omile. Uzomela uphume, you must go out or you must be disciplined. Let us start there. You must go out or you will be disciplined. Sit down, comrades. Ake nimzamele isihlalo lapho. Comrade Kasa. Kasa. Konu Kasa la. Yeah. Lo comrade ongemva kwakho wesikipe sithi asibemnyama. Lo seqethukile. Ohleli phansi lo faka into emhlophe la. Umuke waphinda wasukuma uzodinga uphume wena impela. Waphinda nje wasukuma uyaphuma. Hey, amaphoyisa, the police must. Wema comrade hlalani phansi. Amandla hlalani phansi ma comrade, hlalani phansi nonke. But wema kwethu kubanoyisa amaphoyisa la. Kubawoyisa amaphoyisa. We don't need the assistance of police as yet. All of those who are police, we don't need your assistance. Let us manage issues on our own. Asihlale phansi ke ma comrades. Amandla, sicela nihlale phansi, just be quiet. Just be quiet. Comrades, siyabonga. Amandla. Lapha emnyango. Comrades, lapha emnyango. Angiqede leso siquku. Leso siquku nizosiqeda ngokuthi abanye benu beze ngala ngakomrade uRavi. Okwesibili, amaphoyisa besingakacela isupport yawo. Sizoyicela uma kunesidingo. Hlalani phansi ke. Amandla. Enye inkinga womaqabane ngiyacela ngikunichazela. Uthi umuntu engakezwakali nokuthi uthini nibe seninemoya ephezulu kanti mhlamba akayi ngala nicabanga khona. So yehlisana umoya nilalele kuze qedwe. Wena comrade uma kungukuthi awuthuli wena impela oyebeza isandla uma ungathuli uzodinga sahambe sizoza lapho bese kudinga uphume. Now comrades, ake sibe discipline. We are an organization yabantu abadiscipline. Let's preserve discipline. Long live ANC, long live. Long live Ahmed Kathrada, long live. You can proceed.
Amandla. Let me round up on what Comrade Kathy would like for all of us. He would like us to be hopeful for the future, notwithstanding the many challenges that we have today. And comrades, let me say one thing. If we can't unite amongst ourselves, there's no hope for us in 2019. Remember that. We can carry on squabbling. We can carry on squabbling amongst us. We will lose the confidence of people from all walks of life, from all over South Africa. We don't want to. We want to remain in government so that we can change South Africa. So Comrade Kathy's message to us even today, despite everything that has happened, is continue to make the lives of young people better, and all of us in South Africa can do that. Secondly, work with each other to change the nature of our economy. We've changed the nature of our politics, changed the economy for the benefit of all. Stop the corruption that erodes our economy, and we will all have enough money. And importantly, let's work together so that we build a better South Africa for future generations of South Africans. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Comrade Praveen. Friends and comrades, we are nearing the conclusion of our meeting. Can you please take your seats? Comrades. Amanda! Comrades, take your seats, please. Comrades, take your seats, please. Comrades, friends.
Amandla! Awethu! Amandla! Ngicela nihlale phansi nonke. I've been requested, those who are outside there. Yeah, man, hey. No, but that, Amandla! Hey, again, bachele bathule lama corporates alapha. Amandla! Comrades, besicela ukuthi sidedele uTreasurer General we-ANC asinikeze message ya-ANC from head office just for few minutes. Comrade Zweli Mkhize, Treasurer General we-ANC, asehlise namazwi. Comrades, long live ANC, long live. Long live ANC, long live. Viva President Zuma, viva. Viva Comrade Zweli Mkhize, viva. Amandla. Kabazela.
Amandla. Thank you very much, comrades. Thank you very much, comrades. Amandla! Amandla!
Amandla! Long live President Zuma, long live! Viva ANC, viva! Alhlale phansi bamba umthetho. Hlala phansi, hlala phansi, hlala phansi, hlala phansi. Comrades, we are requesting. The program is almost finished. We had requested earlier on to be tolerant. Let's allow the TG of the ANC to give us the last message. Amandla!
Thank you very much, comrades. Firstly, I think we need to know that despite all the diverse emotions that we have here, but the people who are here do represent a good cross-section of the base that the African National Congress has created in terms of representing the cross-section of South African people. This, in particular, is a proper tribute to a hero such as Comrade Kathrada. We have been concerned about the tension that was growing in the build-up in preparation for this particular meeting. We do want to say to all of the comrades here that as the leadership of the ANC, we want to make sure that we make this celebration to be representative of Comrade Kathrada. We also want to say to you, we would have been concerned if there were comrades who were not allowed to come in. We would also be concerned if in the process there were people who were not free to address in this meeting. And from that point of view, we want to say to you, all the issues that have been raised, the leadership of the ANC is addressing. We also want to agree with the statement that was issued by the President that we should not use the days of commemoration to express differences of opinion within the ANC. We also want to say to you, comrades, what we do today must not be allowed to erode on the support base of the African National Congress. And so, whilst we are going through all of these issues, allow the leadership to deal with these issues as leadership. We also believe that it's important to say to all the comrades who are here, we are still the ANC, even if we differ in our views. We must also make sure that the ANC is given the opportunity to deal with all the issues that are being raised here today. So once we have all come up here, we are dealing with the issues that have caused the differences amongst yourselves. But we must maintain that the issues that Comrade Kathrada stood for must continue to be part of the legacy that we will all cherish as the African National Congress. So, I hope that going forward, we will not have the disagreements being expressed in front of all the people whilst we are dealing with a commemorative process. But even amongst ourselves, we need to make sure that the young people understand this history that we are celebrating today. I wasn't supposed to be in this meeting, but I came just to make sure that the comrades understand we all need to be united in the memory of all our heroes. With those words, comrades, I'd like to suggest that the comrades who have been having tensions, we must find time to discuss these issues on the side. Thank you very much, comrades. Amanda! Thank you. Amanda!
Comrades, friends, we have reached the end of our meeting. Can we just, comrades, ladies and gentlemen, friends and comrades, we have delivered the messages that we came out here to hear today. We want to thank all of you for attending in your numbers. We have many people to thank for making this meeting possible, including the management of the school here. We ask you, as we close this meeting, to please leave peacefully, without any disruption, and wish you a safe journey home. Comrades and friends, the meeting is now closed. You are free to leave. Amandla!
All right, hold on. No, we're going straight into it. Are they still on us? Okay, sure. All right. Sharp. All right, as well as here, they're still on us. Okay. All right. Okay. Chair, thank you. Okay. Chair, thank you very much for your time. Let's quickly just get reaction on what happened inside. Shirley, we saw you a couple of times having to stand up to try and get the guests, mostly members of the ANC Youth League who are out here today, to calm down. But it didn't seem to, at some point, they didn't even listen to you. What is your reaction?
No, I wouldn't say they didn't listen, but I think we are facing a particular level of discontent from various sections of our society. Whilst we appreciate that our democracy is maturing and all of us have a right to express ourselves and our views in any way, I think we must begin to cultivate a culture of respect. I don't think, firstly, it was a good thing not to engage proper at a national level leading to the funeral and the memorial service. I think the presentation of a letter directed to the President by the former Deputy President of the ANC, Comrade Kgalema Motlanthe, should have not been done in the manner in which he did it. It then evoked emotions and different feelings. I do want to acknowledge the right of everyone to express himself. But on ANC internal issues, it's good if national and senior leaders engage on those issues internally. I think it's one issue that started emotions among the people. The second issue, in the public discourse, there is a view that says the president must step down, with some marching yesterday and expressing their views a day before yesterday. We appreciate that. We've got no problem if people would want to march. But equally, I think this expression, what we've seen here, it's an expression that if you've got a view, you must also respect that there will be others with another view, which might be contrary to your view. And what then becomes wrong is to express our views in platforms of this nature, such as memorial services. And it's wrong to take any view that is internal and express it in the public.
But Chair, with that said, is it helpful for the ANC? I mean, you've been speaking about unity within the movement. Is it helpful when leaders are trying to address, when people are not even given a chance to finish a sentence, not knowing where that particular person is driving their point?
That must be condemned. It's not good at all. And I think we must be clear on that. We condemn that in strongest terms. And it must be noted that we don't support howling. We don't support heckling leaders. We want leaders to be respected. As I said, when I was speaking, I emphasized that point of discipline. And therefore, it's important that we deal with this issue. We will be speaking as structures with the Youth League and other structures of the organization, trying to identify those people and try to engage them.
But obviously, Chair, it's going to be quite important. This is a very important year for the ANC. You've got your policy conference followed by the elective conference. The situation in the country is fluid in itself. Moving forward now, what is going to be the next step for the region or for the province?
Well, for us as the province, as we're here, we're in a political school in South Coast, where we're engaging on discussion document for the national conference. I was excused and deployed to come here. I will be going there, and I believe that we have a responsibility to reach to the membership of the ANC, unite them, around the vision of the organization, the creation of a non-racial, non-sexist and democratic society. You would have noticed that divisions and tensions here were almost taking a direction of a racial polarization, which one is deepened by the legacy of apartheid, but two, the current issues. And therefore, we'll need to go out and address those issues.
At some point, the ANC did speak about political education. I know in the province you started cadres forums. Or you mean, is it something now, looking at the situation, what is happening here?
We are continuing with cadres forums in all areas, in all regions and in sub-regions. But we must deepen political understanding, and we must deepen a culture of appreciating that there will be people who will have their own views on any issue, and if you've got a view, respect the views of others too. And I think what is needed from here is to ensure, because this is not only affecting KwaZulu-Natal, but the situation is fluid in the country because of this, and all people are at the extreme. There are those who say the president who are using these platforms to call for the president to step down, which is wrong. Because we can't use memorial services to call on the president to step down. It's wrong.
All right, Chair, thank you very much. Let's see if we can get a reaction from the ANC Youth League. All right, let's just quickly get reaction now from the ANC Youth League, joined by Thando Xolosabel, the Secretary of the ANC Youth League in KZN. Several times you stood up to try and calm down the members that were out here today. First, just get your reaction to the outcome and the behavior and what transpired here today.
Well, we are extremely unhappy in terms of what happened towards the end of the memorial service. The proceedings started very well, went very well, up until a certain time in the memorial service. We condemn any form of interruption and any form of disorderly behavior inside the hall as the ANC Youth League. As we have said earlier on, we did not come here to disrupt the memorial service. We are here to honor the life and legacy of Comrade Ahmed Kathrada. But we do believe that the memorial service went very well. Messages were sent across. Everyone heard. The Youth League reaffirmed the historical position of the ANC of a non-racial society, which is what we were here about. I think what also disturbs us is the provocative statements that are always made by the former Minister of Finance, Comrade Pravin. Because you would notice that if you go and read his speech, he makes some utterances that were very provocative. He says in the ANC there are people who are going around with not unity. It doesn't say names. It doesn't say who's carrying these bags. He's going around making provocative actions. So to a certain extent, we understand why the response from the members who were inside there.
But as the leaders, could you have not waited and engaged with him at some point?
I'm sure you are aware that we were trying inside there to keep calm. We have already agreed with Comrade Pravin that we are going to meet, especially amongst the differences between the ANC Youth League and himself. And we have also made an agreement that we are going to meet with the active citizen movement and try to resolve some of these things, because we do believe as the ANC Youth League that it is Comrade Pravin and the active citizen movement that is trying to plunge our country into a crisis. And as the ANC Youth League will not allow that, we will stand up and we will continue fighting for the ANC and our country.
There was a court order that spoke to you, particularly to yourself as the first respondent in the interdict, to say that you had to instruct your members to behave themselves in an orderly manner. What has happened here today, one might see it as having gone against that court order.
It will be extremely wrong to believe that we went against the court order. I'm sure you are aware, and all members of the media, that we have released 2 statements yesterday instructing all members who attend the memorial service to behave in a particular manner. And even before the memorial service started, I stood up, I requested from the organizers to speak to the members, and I did send a very clear, unambiguous statement that in this memorial service, this is how we must behave as members of the ANC Youth League. And this is what the ANC Youth League calls upon you to do. I even said in my message there, when I was speaking, that my chair has just called me and said I must tell all members of the ANC Youth League that anything they do it will not be on behalf of the ANC Youth League if they disrupt the memorial service. So we believe that we have indeed complied with the court order and there's no violation with the court order. We are a law-abiding organization. Thank you.
Okay, moving on, just lastly, before I let you go, Secretary, just moving on now. Obviously, you're going to have to try and meet. There are going to be other meetings, probably, where other leaders are going to come out and speak. What do you think the direction now is going to be?
The direction is clear. We need to engage as a country. Everyone who's concerned about the current state of the country needs to sit down and engage, because provoking others will not help, because there will be a response. If you march against the president of the ANC and the president of the country, the Youth League will march in favor and in support of the president of the ANC and of the country. So we believe in dialogue. We are saying to all of them, anyone who's concerned, we are equally concerned about what is happening in the country. But we are saying, let's go for an engagement, let's sit down in a boardroom and let's discuss all of these things, because attacking President Zuma will not help. We believe that President Zuma is a champion of economic freedom in our lifetime, and we will stand by him. So we definitely believe that we must then meet and we must discuss. We will be pursuing the engagement with the active citizen movement and with Comrade Pravin, because we do have certain concerns as the ANC Youth League in KwaZulu-Natal. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your time. Thank you.
I'm really sorry. I'm not responsible. I didn't.